Let's get started with the first task: measure solution performance. In this topic, you will learn about the purpose, elements, guidelines and tools, techniques, stakeholders of the measure solution performance task. Let's first start with discussing the purpose of the task. The purpose of the measure solution performance task is to define performance measures and use the data collected to evaluate effectiveness of a solution. The measure used depends on the solution and the context. The performance measure should be inbuilt in. If it is not, then the business analyst should work with the stakeholders to determine and collect the measure. Performance may be assessed through key performance indicators, or KPIs. As we discussed earlier in the lesson, business objectives and the implemented solution are inputs to this task, and outputs are solution performance measures. Business objectives provide measurable results that the enterprise wants to achieve, and the implemented solution or solution components may be in any form. Next, let's discuss the different elements of the measure solution performance task. These include define solution performance measures, validate performance measures, collect performance measures. For defining solution performance measures, business goals, objectives, and processes are common sources of measures. Solution performance may be quantitative, qualitative, or both depending on the value being measured. Quantitative measures are numerical and are countable, such as the average number of requests processed per day, average number of claims settled per day, and so on. Qualitative measures are subjective and can include attributes, perceptions, or any other subjective response. The business analyst validates the performance measure and influencing criteria with the stakeholders. The decision about the measure to be used for evaluating the solution resides with the sponsor. The business analyst should consider volume or sample size and frequency and timing when collecting performance measures. The appropriate sample size for the initiative can be selected based on the total population of impacted users or records. If the sample size is too small, then the results may lead to inaccurate conclusions, and a large sample size may not be practical and economical to obtain. The frequency and timing of the collection may have an effect on the outcome, so it is important to determine the appropriate sample size based on the context. Also, the business analyst needs to consider at what frequency and when to collect the performance measures. In addition to the inputs to the measure solution performance task discussed earlier, the business analyst may use requirements that are validated, solution scope, future state description, and change strategy as guidelines and tools. Validated requirements are appraised to determine value. Solution scope sets the boundaries to measure and evaluate. Future state description provides expected potential value. Change strategy is used to implement potential value. 13 techniques are available to measure solution performance. Let's learn about the need for each of them. Acceptance and evaluation criteria, benchmarking and market analysis, non-functional requirements analysis, and use cases and scenarios. These techniques are used to define measures, acceptance levels, and outcome of the solution. Business cases are used to define performance measures for a proposed solution. Data mining is used to collect large amounts of data about solution performance. Decision analysis is used to help stakeholders make decisions on suitable ways of measuring solution performance. Observations, survey and questionnaire, and focus groups are techniques used to gather opinion, feedback, and attitude towards solution performance. Prototyping is used to simulate the solution to determine solution performance. Metrics and key performance indicators, or KPIs, are used to measure solution performance. Vendor assessment is used to evaluate and select performance measures of vendors that are to be included in the solution performance assessment. Vendor assessment is used to evaluate and select performance measures of vendors that are to be included in the solution performance assessment. Let's next discuss who the stakeholders of business analysis are in the measure solution performance task. While measuring solution performance, the business analyst may involve the customer, end user, domain subject matter expert, project manager, sponsor, regulator. The customer and end user may provide feedback on solution performance. The domain subject matter expert may be consulted to provide potential measures. The project manager is responsible for maintaining schedules and performing solution performance tasks. The sponsor is responsible for approving the measures used to determine solution performance. The regulator may prescribe constraints and guidelines that must be incorporated into solution performance measures. With this, we conclude our discussion on the measure solution performance task of the solution evaluation knowledge area.